Alright, what's going on, guys? We're at a point right now when it comes to Elden Ring news where it feels like the Great Hollowing once again. I know y'all remember that time back before Elden Ring came out where we were browsing Reddit on a daily basis looking for any kind of leak or news whatsoever, and the speculation was absolutely out of control. Now, today we have a lot more news, but that hasn't stopped the rumor mill whatsoever. Now, I'm gonna get y'all up to speed on the update that came out, as well as a really cool bit of news with George R.R. Martin. There's a lot of speculation regarding signs of when the DLC is gonna drop, and some absolutely crazy things that happen regarding Bloodborne that I honestly wish were a joke. But I want to start with the Bloodborne stuff because this is wild. A couple days ago, the official Sony Twitter account tweeted out this image. They said, "Can you see it? Which PlayStation game cover are we zooming in on?" Now, obviously, we all know exactly what game this is. That's the cover for Bloodborne. And we all know how the Bloodborne situation is right now. People are itching for anything Bloodborne related whatsoever. Bloodborne 2, Bloodborne Remastered, or a Bloodborne PC port, and as you might imagine, this stirred the pot quite a bit. People started going crazy thinking this was some kind of sign for a Bloodborne game that's coming out, and the rumors and speculation started up because this is the official Sony account. But in addition to the speculation, a lot of outrage also came out of this. People are tired about Sony talking about Bloodborne without having anything to announce, and it seems like that backlash had an effect, because shortly after posting they deleted the tweet. And that's why the consensus is that this probably wasn't a teaser for some upcoming announcement, because if it was, that tweet would have been a great hype tool. This also comes off rumors that Sony likely canceled their upcoming PlayStation showcase, and it's starting to sound like they're going to be going incognito for a while. And if they are, then I've got just the thing for them. Today's video is sponsored by Incogni. Guys, we use the internet every day for a myriad of things, and pretty much everywhere we go, we leave a digital footprint. And because of that, thousands of companies are collecting, aggregating, and trading your data even when you think you're rolling incognito. But that's where Incogni comes in. Incogni is a surefire way to make sure your personal information is taken off these back data markets and only in the hands of what you can trust. There are lots of problems Incogni can solve for you. I know we all deal with those spam calls on a day-by-day basis. Incogni can make sure they don't get your information anymore so they can't call you. Or if you've ever noticed very weird and unrelated ads, that could be a sign that your information is being sold. Incogni works by reaching out to these data brokers and requesting that your information be taken off. And that's a right you probably didn't know you had. So if you want to go incognito, check out Incogni today. The first 100 people to use code Ziostorm in the link I have down below will get 20% off their purchase. So take that extra step in your internet safety, and thank you to Incogni for sponsoring this video. But now, let's get back to it. Now, the part that I said I wish was a joke also pertains to Bloodborne in that after that tweet went live and was subsequently deleted, some news broke about a new listing in the Australian ESRB ratings for a Bloodborne mobile. Yes, there is a legit game out there called Bloodborne Mobile, and believe it or not, it's rated G. Now you might be thinking, well, how the heck could a Bloodborne game be rated G? Well, that's because there's no actual gameplay at all. You can go on an app store and find the actual Bloodborne mobile game. Those of us that are experienced with mobile games and stuff like this, our warning signs would go off immediately as soon as we see screenshots from the actual game instead of what this mobile game would look like. But in the off chance you get bamboozled by this and actually install this game, it's just a scam. It just shows wallpapers from the game and then asks you to pay for different kinds of plans to supposedly get access to the game, but obviously there's no game here, it's just a scam. Now, there have been a lot of rumors going around that they may have gotten the rights to Bloodborne from Sony in order to develop this, but that is almost definitely not true whatsoever. Even though Sony seems to want nothing to do with Bloodborne, I don't think they would go to that level. It seems like us Bloodborne fans take a L almost every week now. Not that necessarily a real mobile game would be a W exactly, but add another one to the list. It's not all bad news though, we actually have had a lot going on with Elden Ring. We all know that patch 1.07 came out recently and it made the game a whole lot better, at least on the PvP front, but apparently there was one pretty big mistake within that patch. In patch 1.07 they gave a buff to endurance, which is a skill that basically allows you to have infinite poise for a short amount of time, and in PvP it's one of the best skills in the game. So it became pretty clear after the patch went live how OP this was, and even FromSoftware knew because a few days ago they released a hotfix, patch 1.07.1, which reverted Ender back to its pre-patch state. And this is a pretty big deal, I don't think a lot of people realize. The fact that they were willing to release a whole hotfix just for one outlier in PvP shows how dedicated the team is to having a balanced PvP experience now. I made a video last week talking about how I believe Elden Ring is going to be much more PvP oriented going towards the future, and how FromSoftware is paving the way for Elden Ring to be a competitive multiplayer game, and this hotfix only reinforces that whole video. A lot of people still try to deny the fact that multiplayer is a priority for them, and I am happy to see them continuously being proven wrong. Also in the news, yesterday George R.R. Martin went on the Stephen Colbert late night show and actually detailed a lot of the process that he had in creating the lore of Elden Ring, which is something we've heard talked about a lot, but never anything really concrete about what exactly he did, and it's good to finally have that exact knowledge. Now, I'm not going to play the clip here because of copyright reasons, obviously, but I'll give you the rundown real quick. Colbert asked him about Elden Ring and what he did, and what George Martin said was, Miyazaki and the team contacted him many years ago and asked him to write the world of their game. Now, they made it clear that the game would take place in the present of that world, and in Martin's words, they stated that they wanted him to write what happened 5,000 years ago. Now, a lot of people are taking this literally to think that the shattering happened 5,000 years before the events of the game, but I don't think that's correct. I'm pretty sure he was just saying that figuratively, just like how he said it was a sequel to Dark Souls back in the day. Now, he also went on to say that he hasn't actually played the game, but he's seen a lot about it, and he thinks it's the most beautiful game he's ever seen. Now, good news for you Game of Thrones fans, he said he hasn't had time to play the game because he's been too busy riding the winds of winter. Now, as for what exact lore Martin wrote, we still don't know verbatim, but I think the contents of the intro cutscene or the story trailer would probably be the best bet. But now we get into some fun stuff. We've got some DLC speculation to talk about, and you guys know I love speculation. A big project that's been going on in the Elden Ring community are the official Elden Ring guidebooks, called the Books of Knowledge, that detail pretty much everything you could ever want to know about the game. It's ranging from lore, builds, maps, all kinds of things, and they've been in production for a long time. I know they even had some content creators on to help make them, and people have been receiving the first edition recently, and I gotta say, they look absolutely awesome. But it was just recently announced that the second version of the books is being delayed until early 2023, and as you can imagine, this has sparked a lot of rumors. A post went up today on r/gaming leaks and rumors, where they speculated that this delay may be due to the second volume potentially containing information about the DLC. And I gotta say, I'm not sure what I think about this. The biggest counter argument I've seen to this idea, which was stated in the post, is that it was potentially delayed due to the patches. However, I'm not exactly sure that holds water, because FromSoftware has made it very clear that there are more patches coming, and that they're going to keep adjusting the balancing of weapons and armor. Now, I do know some of the people that were working on the exact numbers for the guidebooks, and I'm not sure if I think they would get access to information regarding the DLC. However, we do know DLC is coming. If you want to know exactly how we know DLC is coming, I'll have the video up in the corner, but essentially a lot of the DLC files were leaked in the latest patch, and they were specifically labeled DLC 01. But I do think this could be a possibility for the guidebook being delayed, because I do think that would be exactly around the time the DLC is going to drop. Here's what I think is going to happen. The Game Awards are coming up in a little over a month on December 8th. I'd put money on Elden Ring winning Game of the Year, and then that would be a perfect opportunity for them to show the trailer, and then have the DLC drop in January. That's just what I'm thinking, and I think that makes perfect sense, and I could also see it happening a little bit sooner. But I'm not entirely sure that's the reason for the book's delay. However, I've talked to people that got the first edition of the guidebooks, and they think they're pretty complete. They're not sure of what's going to even be in the second one. So I don't know, I'm not going to give a definite opinion one way or the other about the reason for the delay of the guidebooks, but it's entirely possible. Even if it's not going to have DLC in the book, that is around the time we're probably going to be seeing DLC anyway. But FromSoftware's been doing a lot of shadow drops too with the updates and with the news, so it could also just come out of left field, we never know. Anyways though guys, that's just what I'm thinking about all of it, and that's gonna pretty much do it for the video. These were a lot of small things that didn't warrant an entire video on their own, and so a lot of times when that happens, I like to wait for more things to pile on top so that we can get a full video out of it. But of course, if it's something major, you guys know I'm always gonna have a video out as soon as possible. So if that interests you, be sure to subscribe and leave a like on the video. Definitely don't download Bloodborne mobile, and if you do, be sure to be running Incogni in the background so that you can stay safe out here. But with all that, I'll catch you in the next one.